Hi Lotus family, welcome to our channel where we talk about everything to do with educational support. So in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about homeschooling, and this topic has become very popular in South Africa these days given COVID-19 and parents just being very worried about taking their kids to school and students being worried and not wanting to go to school. So homeschooling has become an option for parents to take, and that's why we've been getting a lot of consultations on it. So we are uploading this video just to kind of give you a brief of what homeschooling is and the pros of homeschooling if you are considering it. So let's start off with the definition of what homeschooling is. So basically, homeschooling is when you decide to give your child primary and high school education at home. So this can be administered either by you as the parent or a professional you choose to hire or a tutor, or it could even be done online, right? So for you to be able to facilitate homeschooling, you'd obviously have to register for it, but that's a conversation for another day altogether. But that's just a brief on what it is. And now we're going to talk about the pros of homeschooling to kind of shed light on why you would rather opt for this option instead of sending your kids to school. The first reason is that it's a one-on-one setting. What that means is that it's just the teacher and your child, right? So that's very customized attention. So in a private or public school, given any, kids usually have to compete for the teacher's attention, and that's a range from about 15 to about 40 students. So what usually happens is that the teacher does not have time or the capability to focus on each and every student's concerns. So what they end up giving is a very one-size-fits-all kind of education, and that's not really ideal for your child, especially if they need specialized or special attention. The second reason why you would opt for homeschooling a child is that it provides a very customized learning experience. So this kind of links in with the first reason that I've just stated, in that your child has the opportunity to learn in the best way they can. So there are different kinds of learners, right? There are learners that learn through visuals, there are learners that learn through listening, and then there are learners that learn through reading and writing. So what homeschooling does is it allows your child to learn in the best way possible, or in the way that they learn the fastest. So if it's a homeschooling setup, then the teacher or tutor would learn or provide the teaching through the best medium for that student, unlike with schooling where the teacher will just kind of write notes on the board, and if the child doesn't understand, then they have to take the notes, get a tutor to explain the notes in the way they understand, or they do it themselves. So they summarize the notes in the best way that they would understand the notes, which is through perhaps they would record it themselves or draw pictures or whatever the case is. So homeschooling it's kind of a shortcut to that, right? So it just makes sure that your child learns the best way possible. The third reason relates to parents who want to spend more time with their kids while growing up. So homeschooling gives you the opportunity to be with your child if you want to be with your child, when you want to be with your child, and when you can. So most parents have got very tight schedules at work, so they can't really see their kids when they want to or when they have the time, and homeschooling kind of takes care of that. Another thing is it also gives a very emotionally balanced environment to learn. So usually with schools where there are lots of students, some students get shy, right? Some kids get shy to ask questions, and they don't necessarily learn at the same pace as other students, and they may ask a lot of questions and all of that, and that may just stifle their growth. And that's where homeschooling comes in, because it's a very emotionally safe environment, because it's literally just the teacher and the student. So there is literally minimum friction between the two of them to have the best education experience for your child. The fourth interest is that it helps students and parents who want to nurture more of the natural abilities just besides educating their kids. So if your child has got a natural talent, homeschooling would be the option, because it would then provide you the opportunity to groom that talent or those talents and also educate your child, right? So homeschooling doesn't undermine the quality of education. It just gives you a flexible timetable to work around it. So if you want to do more than just learning, then homeschooling would be your best bet. The other reason is that your students get to progress at their own pace, right? So it kind of links in with other reasons that I've mentioned, but this one is specifically catered to how students sometimes don't really grasp all concepts learned in class just because the teacher had 45 minutes, or they were shy to ask the question, or whatever the case is. So now that kind of takes care of that, because the child can then progress at their own pace, right? And if they have any questions, they're always free enough to ask. And this directly relates to the other reason that I gave for that homeschooling provides a very emotionally safe environment to learn. Then the last reason why you'd want to homeschool your child, right, relates to the fact that some parents are scared that if you homeschool your child, they'll become recluse, they will not know how to socialize, and they'll basically be an outsider in the adult world. I beg to differ, because you can still find other ways to include your child into the society. So if you want to include your child into the society at a very young age, you can sign them up for clubs, right? So there are clubs that offer extramural activities like public speaking, chess, sports, or whatever the case is. And those clubs are very good clubs because they're specialized towards that. So you can involve your child in the community as much as you want to. They are not really going to be shunned away from the community. So that's not really a reason to not homeschool your child. Without a doubt, COVID-19 has forced us to adopt new ways of learning and just living in general. And I say we embrace this and we look for new and better ways to do things. And if homeschooling is one of them and you think it is, then why not? There's just so much information out there about homeschooling. Read through it, and if you need to consult, you can consult Triple Lotus as well. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in to our episode. I'll catch you guys next week for another exciting time. Bye.